Shush! It's time for The Shelf. Whangarei District Libraries Radio on Beagle Radio. Oh!
Tēnā koutou katoa, no mai whakaronga mai ki The Shelf. He punua pauho mai i ngā whare pukapuka I Whangarei I Beagle Radio 88.1 FM. I pahure koutou I ngā hōtaka me o hotu ki ngā whare pukapuka I YouTube. Hello everyone, welcome to The Shelf, a podcast for Whangarei District Libraries on Beagle Radio 88.1 FM and streaming online at beagleradio.co.nz. To catch up on episodes you might have missed, subscribe to the Whangarei District Libraries YouTube channel. Kia ora, my name is LJ.
Kia ora, my name is Andy.
And we both work for the Whangarei District Libraries and also co-hosts of The Shelf.
That's right.
So we've got a big episode today, but we're going to kick it off with a regular segment. What are we reading?
Well, if you don't mind, I can start.
Yeah.
Some of you know I have a long drive to work, so I listen to audiobooks on the way. I listened to a very interesting audiobook called Men Without Country, and it is all about the voyage of the Bounty and the mutiny that followed. The mutiny happened in the 1700s. I think it was about 1790. Basically, on the ship, you had the leader of the expedition, Lieutenant Bligh. Their mission was to go to Tahiti and collect breadfruit and take the seeds back to the West Indies so they could grow breadfruit and feed it to slaves. So that's the unholy nature of the whole mission. However, things went horrible. There was a mutiny on the boat, and the leader of the mutiny was named Fletcher Christian. Some of the later accounts of the mutiny say that he was infatuated with a Tahitian woman, but there really is not a whole lot of evidence for that, although he did take a wife in Tahiti.
So this is a non-fiction?
It's nonfiction. This really happened in 1790-ish.
Yeah,
And,
I thought so, but I just wanted to check that it was whether it was a non-fiction or a historical fiction.
Well, it's had 3 movies based on the trip. In one of them, my favorite version, Mel Gibson plays Fletcher Christian, and Anthony Hopkins plays Lieutenant Bligh as the cruel but maybe even misunderstood captain. The way the book frames it is, on this ship, there was a very toxic workplace, and there are so many records about what happened because they kept very accurate records on the ship, because it was a business, essentially. And long story short, the mutiny succeeded. Some of the mutineers landed in Pitcairn Island and stayed there. But what happened afterwards was basically another mutiny on the island, leading to the deaths of most of the mutineers.
Oh, wow.
And the story is so long, I'm not going to get into it. But if you like the movie, The Mutiny on the Bounty, you should read Men Without Country.
Awesome. And is that... So we have the audiobook of that?
Yes.
Awesome. Thanks, Andy. I am reading my first Stephen King.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
You've read quite a bit of Stephen King, right? I feel like I've heard you and Glenn talking about it.
I've read 2.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I was like, I know that somebody...
A little bit.
Yeah, apparently our co-worker Deb is a huge fan as well. So I'm reading... But it's not a horror one. I'm reading 11/22/63, which some people might have twigged on to the date already. But it's like a time travel, alternate history style, which I like alternate histories if they're done well. Like, there's definitely plenty of bad alternate histories out there. So it's an English teacher, Jake Epping, going through a divorce, and he his friend Al. This isn't a spoiler because it's in the it's in the synopsis. But his friend Al from the diner is is dying, basically, and divulges a secret to him, that there is a portal in his in the storeroom of his diner, that takes you back to 1958, and Al basically wants Jake to go back and complete the mission that he's been trying to complete, but now he's got a terminal illness and he can't, which is to prevent the assassination of JFK and change the world.
Yeah. Wow.
He seems to think that this will. So it's set in 2011. Yeah, and then the portal takes you back to 1958. And I won't spoil the details of how the portal works. It's a massive book. So originally what drew me to it is that the large print copy that we have has a really cool cover, which I know don't judge a book by its cover, but
Yes.
I always would see it when I worked at branches and be like, oh, that's such a neat cover. And so one day I picked it up to just sort of be like, oh, what's it actually about? I'm always looking at this cover, and it intrigued me. So I didn't pick up the large print because that's like almost 1,000 pages. But I'm reading our normal print copy of it, which is huge in and of itself. So I've tried to challenge myself a little bit this year to, because I always have a goal, like a book goal, but this year I've given myself like a pages goal because I want to read some of the longer books that I have on my to be read shelf instead of, always picking up the shorter ones to as out of ease. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. It's got a television show adaptation, which one of our co-workers, Shelley, said to me today, because she saw me reading it, said that she watched the adaptation and it was really good. So maybe once I've read it, I'll check out the TV show. But yeah, so it's 11/22/63 by Stephen King.
Wow, fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
I looked it up in our catalog, and it is also a DVD.
Yeah. Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
I'm the DVD librarian, but I don't know everything we have.
Okay. I wonder if that is the same, if it's a different adaptation or it's the same as the TV show Shelley was talking about. Well, I have to check it out because I do have an ancient PS2 plugged into my television that I play DVDs on.
PS2, only a 2?
Yeah.
Aren't we at 8 now?
Yeah. It's a relic.
Well, I'd like to talk a bit about the Library of Things, which is actually called He Kākano.
Yeah, which means the seed, or a seed, seeds.
Yeah.
So the idea behind the collection is that it's the items are like a planting of a seed.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue,
Oh,
Andy.
it's all good. I think that's good clarification.
Yeah.
In the He Kākano collection, the Library of Things, you can check out objects and learn from them. For example, we have a bananagram set. Have you ever played the game Bananagrams?
I have. I love bananagrams.
Yeah, it's like Scrabble, but fun.
But better. You're not constrained by a board.
Yeah. I should have said that. A lot of people like Scrabble.
Yeah.
But I like Bananagrams.
Yeah.
There's also a ukulele, and I just wanted to say, if you do check out the ukulele, you can also get on your phone the Fender Tuner app and a metronome app. So with the Tuner app, you can tune your ukulele so it sounds correct. And as for the metronome, if you want to be really humbled while you play, keep a rhythm too. Mm. And there are many method books in the library.
So many books.
Yeah,
which is quite cool. I like that. Yeah, we have that item, and then you can just wander upstairs and get all the resources that you need as well.
Yeah, and checking these objects out is no different from checking a book out. Mm-hmm. You ask for what you would like at the front desk, at Central Library only, and they will fetch the item for you and check it out to you. They are 2-week checkouts.
Yeah.
And please be mindful, these are delicate things. Mm-hmm. One of them is a moon telescope. I brought that home on a very clear night and had a look at the moon. It has some instructions in the box, which I cannot remember specifically, but you do need to change the lenses so you can get a clearer view. And there's even a filter because up close the moon is very bright.
Yeah, I haven't checked that one out yet, but I know quite a few people like on staff have, as well as customers.
Yeah, we got some good feedback from a regular customer. He basically he said that he loved it. He's
Awesome.
a child. What about these Takoro card games?
Oh yeah, so my Te Reo Māori Ropu that we call ourselves a support group. Really, we're not like an official class, but we get together and we're teaching ourselves. And we've been checking out the Takaro card games. And they're like, how would I explain it? They're little flashcard games. We've got a few different ones. We've got like the original game. We've got one that's feelings and emotions, and then there's another one as well. I think it's like colors and numbers, something like that. And so they're little cards, and there's a little reference sheet, and it's also really cool because there's a QR code as well on the back of on the box or the reference sheet, and you can scan the QR code, and then you can actually hear the pronunciation of the words, like if there's some words that you're not so sure of.
Wow.
Which is really handy. And we've been using the feelings and emotions one to just expand our vocabulary. So they have little pictures on them, on the cards, and they have words that are associated with them, and so that they're all listed on the reference sheet. And then it's hard without a visual, but everybody starts with one card, and then there's the rest of the stack of cards in the middle. You flip over the top card, and then you have to study your card, and then look at the card that's in the middle and see one that's matching, and you have to try and say the word in reo Māori as fast as you possibly can, and then that becomes your new card, and then you go around. So the goal is to have as many cards as possible at the end. So that's been a really useful one, especially for someone like me, because whenever somebody asks me, e pehe ana koe, how are you? My go-to response is, e hia moe ana, which means I'm sleepy. So I'm trying to learn some different feelings and emotions.
I say e nginga ana.
Oh, yeah, you're tired?
Yeah, same idea.
Yeah, that's maybe a little bit more so we're trying to expand on that.
Yes.
And also I just mentioned quickly, but there's also the kaupapa board game, which is another great one, no matter where you are in your reo Māori journey. And it's quite a pricey one, so I know that it's really cool that we've got that to check out, because for some people they might want to give it a go before they invest in it, but played it before a while ago at a friend's house, and I remember it being fun. Don't ask me what all the rules are because I can't remember, but I do remember it being fun. So those are just a few things that are in there that you can, if you're on a reo journey, can help support your learning.
Well, we mentioned instruments earlier, and with the ukulele. Well, I take guitar lessons, and one of the pieces that I should be practicing is called Saltarello.
So you're going to play it live for us here?
I could sing it. Doo-doo. Well, the song was written quite a long time ago by Vincenzo Galilei, but it is rearranged for guitar in the recording that we are going to play.
Awesome.
And it is difficult to play.
Thanks, Andy.
You are listening to The Shelf, a podcast for Whangarei District Libraries on Beagle Radio 88.1, and that was me humming. I'm just kidding. That song was by Vincenzo Galilei, performed by Russell Walker on guitar. It says in the comments he played it from memory too, which I just like. I respect that.
That's awesome. Now we're going to get into another edition of Mythbusters, Library Edition. This week we are tackling, in air quotes here,
Yes.
Librarian is a low-stress, well-paid job. And what has prompted this is there was a little bit of a furore, would you say, in the library community at the beginning of January. There was an article published on stuff.co.nz called 5 Low Stress Roles That Pay Well on January 8th. And I'll just read the little segment about the librarian and then Leanne's response to that, and then Andy and I will have a little chat about it. But there wasn't just librarian that was mentioned. I think also jeweler, dietitian, and a few other ones. Audiologists were mentioned, and I thought they probably all would have had similar reactions to library. I don't know a ton about those jobs, but there's not a lot of jobs that I think you could classify as low stress and well paid. So just read this excerpt. So according to Stuff, about librarians, they've said employment website Seek puts the average salary for librarians at $75,000. Yep. But data from the Library and Information Association of New Zealand, Aotearoa, Lianza, shows there's quite a spread across different library roles. School librarians usually earn $25,000 to $30,000 a year, but only work during school terms and hours. At the other end of the salary spectrum, community library managers can earn up to $125,000, Leanza says. Once you're trained, most librarians have a tertiary qualification, in some case a master's degree, in library and information studies. It's generally, close bracket, it's generally considered a pretty low stress gig according to Seek, but that doesn't mean it's not challenging or stimulating. There's far more to it than reshelving books. Librarians spend their days researching and locating information from a range of sources, protecting books from damage, and helping a wide range of people, including children, migrants, and older people. Those in sole charge positions, like school librarians, are also often responsible for managing budgets and administering a range of operations to keep their libraries ticking over in what are complex information systems. So that was what the article said. I kind of liked the predicting books from damage. I mean, sort of, but I just the vision that it gives me of that statement is like us physically protecting the books from damage.
Standing in front of it with a spear.
Yeah.
Not really.
And so the Library and Information Association of New Zealand, Aotearoa Lianza, had a little bit of a statement in response because, you might have noticed as I was talking that they were referenced there as if they'd been spoken to. So they had this to say on their social media accounts a couple of days after the article came out. Lianza is dismayed at the misrepresentation of a librarian's role in this article. Lianza was not asked for comment, and we will be following this up with Stuff. The data used in this article was taken from the Careers NZ website, which shows a range of pay levels. We know that libraries are dealing with difficult and vulnerable library users every day in their workplaces, while also undertaking complex and important mahi, and often in roles that are subject to pay equity claims for good reason. Let's get into it. I'll start with things they got right,
Let's start with the positive.
Many librarians and library workers do have some kind of specialist tertiary qualification. I know you've got a diploma in library and information studies.
That's right.
Correct?
Yeah.
And you also have a degree in journalism?
Yeah, I have a bachelor's degree
in journalism.
Yeah. And English.
Yes, I was like, I knew it was something along those lines. And I myself, I have a diploma in information and library studies, the same one as Andy, and I am 6 papers away from turning it into a bachelor's in information and library studies. Almost there. And a lot of our colleagues we've got a few colleagues with masters, and the bachelor's or the diploma, or some have degrees in teaching and other kind of similar or adjacent professions. And we do spend our days helping a wide range of people. They did get that part right.
Definitely.
I will be writing to PNC to request my $75,000 salary. I think that one might have got lost in the in the mail.
I'd like that too.
Yeah.
Gold bars.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, jokes aside.
Yeah.
But the thing that really got, obviously can't give you the visual, but the thing that really got me is the stock photo they used. It shows a prime example of improper book handling. In the article, she's got like 3 or 4 books scooped underneath her arm, which, when I first started in libraries, I had to watch an old-timey video where, you should really be book handling with 2 hands when you are shelving books, not slinging under one arm.
Oh.
And the caption on the photo is, "Working in a library is generally considered low stress," to which I say, by who?
I'm shaking my head at that.
Certainly not anyone who's spent any time working in a library. I will clarify, Andy and I do love our jobs, but I wouldn't call it. It's probably not the most high stress role that one could do, but it's definitely far from what anyone would be calling low stress. But it's not just stuff that believe these myths about librarianship. I don't know about you, Andy, but I often get comments that they would love to work at the library and read among and be among books all day, and how relaxing that would be.
Yeah, there's more to it than that.
Yeah, and we would love to read books all day.
I would love that.
So I did want to talk about, Andy and I went to the Lienza conference actually in 2023. You probably heard us mention it quite a few times on the show, because we got a lot out of it. But Beth Waller spoke in a keynote speech about effective library responses to changing user needs, and she referenced the need for trauma-informed librarianship, and that's because there are changing library user needs, and there's also an impact on staff that comes with that. So there's been existing needs of library patrons that librarians have managed for many years, as Andy and I both know. Examples would include homelessness or unstable housing, poverty-related needs, mental health challenges, substance use, and these existing issues were all impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic and the surrounding circumstances that came from that. So higher rates of violence and threats towards librarians began to occur during the pandemic, but have remained an issue since, not just for us in Whangarei, but even a quick Google search brings up that it's affected many libraries, and certainly my old library, it was a pre-existing issue even before COVID. We had a permanent security, and then of course combined with the current political climate with threats of violence around quote-unquote diversity, which means staff from minority groups are often doubly affected. But Beth spoke about the strain on library staff who are not trained or qualified to assist with the levels of need, or are conflicted about what their role is in terms of assisting with various needs. And she's actually written a book on these topics called Creating a Person-Centered Library, Best Practices for Supporting High Needs Patrons, and that will be hitting our library shelves shortly, although you have to get in line because I've got a hold on it.
I think I should get in line too.
Yeah.
It'd be very useful.
I've been meaning to read it since the conference. Better late than never.
Yeah.
But so libraries are safe havens, and they have been for many years, and hopefully they will continue to be for years to come. It just means that changes have to be made at organisation levels, particularly to prevent staff burnout. Many libraries in Australia now have in-house social workers to assist with supporting the community, and also to train staff on how to work with vulnerable people. for us here in Whangarei, we've got our kaitiaki, who, if you're a regular to the Whangarei Central Library, you may have seen her. And she builds relationships with the community, liaises with city safe officers and other community support groups to ensure the library is a safe place for all. And since having our kaitiaki, the rate of incidents at our libraries has dropped significantly, but also as staff we attend a variety of workshops around working with high needs patrons or what to do in violent or threatening situations.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad we have her now.
Yeah, and it's just, like I say, she's got a positive relationship, very similar to what I experienced at my previous library. We had a regular security guard, and that was really helpful for us. And we've probably all seen the news recently in terms of incidents in libraries.
Yes, as many of us know, there has been lately violent pushback from opponents to the rainbow community. As well, public libraries hold plenty of information written by and for LGBT plus people, and we librarians also face opposition for providing resources and hosting events that feature members of the rainbow community. For example, there was a violent incident at the Te Atatu Library in West Auckland, in which a large group associated with a church organization charged into the library during a drag storytime event and intimidated members of the public, many of them children, and assaulted staff. In the face of this opposition to the LGBT plus library materials and events, I firmly stand by my professional ethics. I will provide resources for the whole community. If you feel that there is a book, magazine, DVD, whatever, that challenges your beliefs, you don't have to check it out. That's what I do for material that I'm not interested in. I just leave it. I have a statement here from the Library and Information Association of New Zealand, Aotearoa, that's Lianza. Quote, access to representation, resources, and affirming experiences for rainbow people helps to improve mental well-being, reduce stress and isolation, and help the wider community to empathize with rainbow whānau and their lived experience. End quote. I believe the library is a safe and welcoming place, and it is my opinion that we should not cancel events to comply with the demands of religious extremists. With religious extremists. It gets complicated, though, because we have to consider the physical safety of our library community and staff. What I really recommend, though, is that you go to the Lianza website, that is Lianza, and click on search and type rainbow. There's an incredibly well-written page about the challenges to the rainbow community in libraries. It's written very well, better than I could have stated just now. Please, check it out.
And I will say the positive side of that incident is the following day, members of the Te Aratu community came together to say karakia and clear the space. And I think that is a really beautiful testament to the power of community and the power of libraries. We've talked a lot on here about community, and I really liked what you said there, Andy, about what was that quote that you read? Sorry.
From Lianza?
Yeah, I liked it, and then, now I'm trying.
Here it is. Access to representation, resources, and affirming experiences for rainbow people helps to improve mental well-being, reduce stress and isolation, and help the wider community to empathize with rainbow whānau and their lived experience.
Yeah.
I like the emphasis on empathy.
Yeah, and empathy's another thing that we heard a lot about in terms of reading, and the conference.
Reading for pleasure can help develop
What is
empathy.
it?
It's something I wrote very large in my notebook.
Mirrors and windows. So like a book can either be a mirror into your own experience or a window into somebody else's. And yeah, adding on to that, like you said earlier, you can, anything that you don't agree with, you can just walk past. We have a commitment to represent the whole community. So at different times we'll have different displays on different things. There's currently one upstairs on menopausal women, which is really great. If you're menopausal, check it out. Just because Andy and I are not menopausal women, we don't go, that shouldn't be in the library. We just go, wow, what a great display. That one doesn't apply to me. And we walk on by. And
you're allowed to read it anyway.
Yeah, and that as well, you might learn something. I've said it before when we've talked about banned books and things like that, but if you agree with every single thing in the library, or if I agreed with every single thing that we had in the library, then we wouldn't be doing our job. So those are just, it's a brief overview of the challenges that we might face, and of course there's more to it than that. But we really do love our jobs, I think.
Yes.
I know that I love mine. And, there's also so many positive interactions with the community that happen every day, and especially your regulars get quite a fondness for those people. They really become a part of your life, really, your day-to-day. I know, especially when older patrons go to homes or things like that and you don't see them as much, but you do notice that loss. So I'm going to read, I'm not going to wrap it for you.
You don't have to.
But I am going to read a poem. It's called The Library Rap by Julia Donaldson. It's taken from a really lovely book, whether you have kids or not. It's called Pick and Mix Poetry, Children's Verse, chosen by Julia Donaldson, but the poem itself is actually by Julia Donaldson. Bear with while I pull it up here. So, to me, when I read this, I was like, it just really sums up everything that's great about libraries. So working in a library, people might think it's great because their idea of it is that you're sitting around reading in peaceful quiet all day, but I think that this poem sums up why it's really a wonderful job to have. The Library Rap. Everyone is welcome to walk through the door. It really doesn't matter if you're rich or poor. There are books in boxes and books on shelves. They're free for you to borrow, so help yourselves. Come and meet your heroes, old and new, from William the Conqueror to Winnie the Pooh. You can look into the mirror or read the Times, or bring along a toddler to chant some rhymes. The librarian's a friend who loves to lend, so see if there's a book that she can recommend. Read that book, and if you're bitten, you can borrow all the other ones the author's written. Are you into battles or biography? Are you keen on gerbils or geography? Gardening or ghosts? Sharks or science fiction? There's something here for everyone, whatever your addiction. There are students revising, deep in concentration, and school kids doing projects, finding inspiration. Over in the corner, there's a table with seating, so come along and join in the book club meeting. Yes, come to the library, browse and borrow, and help make sure it'll still be here tomorrow. And that was by Julia Donaldson. So check out Pick a Mix Poetry, Children's Verse, if you want to read more poetry. I've got a song.
All right, let's do it.
If you were listening last year, I had this challenge that every time it had to be book related. I have freed myself from my own challenge because it was getting hard, and now you just have to be subjected to my random music taste. But the song, it's not on Spotify, so it's from Mardi Gras, which was I think Creedence Clearwater Revival's last studio album, I want to say. And for some reason, there's only 4 songs on Spotify from it, but I have it on vinyl. So I keep getting this song stuck in my head. And then when I'm at work, I can't listen to it because it's not on Spotify. So yeah, I have to listen to it on my vinyl. But yeah, found out this morning, apparently this album was pretty panned in terms of their other albums. But I think that it's good. So this song is from Mardi Gras, the album, and it is called Sail Away by Creedence Clearwater Revival. You're listening to The Shelf, a podcast for Whangarei District Libraries on Beagle Radio 88.1 FM. That song was Sail Away by Creedence Clearwater Revival. Before the song, Andy and I were just doing a little segment, and I just wanted to say, when he was talking about providing resources for rainbow people helps with isolation, I just wanted to say from a personal standpoint, because I came out a little bit later in life, and one of the first forms of representation that I read was actually just a cheesy romance novel, rom-com style, from the library. And that was quite groundbreaking. I grew up in the early 2000s. Gay marriage wasn't legalized till after I left high school. So, yeah, I think sometimes it feels like these things have been in the public eye or accepted for a lot longer than people kind of realize in the grand scheme of things. So, you know, even if it's not for you, we are part of your community, and we deserve to see ourselves represented in the library. So that's all I say on that. But yeah, just wanted to add a personal note there. We talk about misinformation and disinformation a lot here on The Shelf. It's a topic Andy and I, and hopefully all of our colleagues, are particularly passionate about. And so Andy just wanted to do a wee PSA to remind you to stay sharp.
We will be revisiting this topic constantly because it is so important, even in the age of the internet.
Especially in the age of the internet.
Well, I guess what I meant, even before the age of the internet,
yes.
There was plenty of misinformation and disinformation. But we are here today. Mm-hmm. We must carefully evaluate the information that we consume, especially if it is online. If it is posted on Facebook, please note that as of this year, 2025, Facebook no longer has fact-checking. If it is posted on X, formerly Twitter, consider the political agenda of the owner of X. If something is posted on Facebook, but you do not know the person who posted it, but it's on your newsfeed anyway, then it is possibly an AI post. So don't click like and don't share. In in previous episodes, I have laid out an excellent framework for avoiding misinformation and disinformation, and it is called the CRAP test. It's actually a really fun framework, but that's CRAP spelled C-R-A-A-P, and it is an acronym standing for currency, relevance, authority, accuracy, and purpose. Just consider all of those elements while you are reading something. You will find this framework in greater detail in episode 32. So, in conclusion, you must check that the information that you are reading, watching, listening to is backed up by sources and is not just made up. And if it's backed up by sources, check the sources.
Amazing. Great reminder.
As a side note, I want to say, it's related, but I have been getting emails claiming that they're from Elon Musk. Obviously, that is a scam. I'm not going to respond.
He might want to give you millions of dollars, Andy.
I'm sure he wouldn't, even if it were him. So that is an obvious scam. I'm not going to reply, not even a snarky response. and it will remain in the spam folder until it self-deletes.
Self-deletes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a very good reminder. And I think also, and I'm pretty sure I talked about it in episode 32, but I always, go, how is this making me feel and who benefits from me feeling like this right now when I'm intaking information, because that's a part of it as well.
And it also can apply to books too, not just online material. Mm-hmm. I've seen some interesting things on the shelves.
Yeah.
Evaluate everything. You know how they told you never question authority when you were a child? Well, I have some swear words about how untrue that is. You should question it.
Definitely do it, and do it often.
Yeah.
That's from your friendly neighborhood librarians. Question everything.
Yes.
We're going to talk about upcoming events happening in the community that the library is involved in or hosting. So we will be taking the mobile library bus along to the Pride Parade after party on Saturday 22nd of March at Putahi Park. We will have books, badge making, some games, information about library resources, and hopefully a craft. I'm working on something now. We'll see. But yeah, we definitely have badge making, which is always a hit. We've had it at previous events. Yeah.
And there's the Dementia Friendly Book Club in collaboration with Alzheimer's Northland. It meets fortnightly on the second and fourth Monday of each month from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. in the Leonard Room at Whangarei Central Library. It is free to enter, but register with Alzheimer's Northland on either 09483. Let me read that again. 09438-7771 or email northland@alzheimers.org.nz. So there will be a book sparkled chat over a cup of tea. Shared reading groups for people with memory loss or dementia allow them to continue reading and enjoying books. This activity promotes well-being and enhances their language skills. Reading together and speaking about books helps people connect with their memories and each other, fostering community and reducing isolation.
Yeah, it's a really great initiative. If you know anybody that you think could benefit, then check it out. We've also got our drop-in tech help sessions ongoing. This is supported by the Citizens Advice Bureau of Whangarei. First Tuesday of every month from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. at the Whangarei Central Library. Free, no booking required. Our next session is Tuesday, 1st of April. You can spend up to 30 minutes with a librarian or volunteer coach who can help you with things such as general use of smartphone, tablets, laptops, library services such as access to ebooks, e-audiobooks, online newspapers, and magazines.
We will also have Bodies on the Beach, part of the 2025 Mystery in the Library series. And it's on Thursday, the 10th of April, 2025, from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. in the May Bain Room at Whangarei Central Library. Do you enjoy delving into crime, mystery, and thrillers in your reading? The Niall Marsh Awards, in association with Whangarei District Libraries, invites book lovers to a thrilling evening of criminally good conversation featuring 5 talented Northland storytellers. The panelists include Whangarei local authors Michael Botor, Tracy Lark, who will be joined by Sherry Clark, Koo Harkins, and Tanis Laidlaw. Free entry, refreshments provided. Spaces are limited, so registration is required. There is a registration link on the event page on our website, or inquire at any of the Whangarei District Libraries. Inquire at any of the Whangarei District Libraries, any of the branches, and we can assist with you with registering.
Awesome.
I think since we have some time left, perhaps I can make a brief shout out for next Monday. It is St. Patrick's Day.
It is St. Patrick's Day.
What's that, the 17th? I think it is.
Yes.
So, did you know that we have a lot of material in our library by Irish authors And there are a few films by Irish directors with Irish actors in them. And they are delightful, although some of them can be kind of grim.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, one of my favorite Irish authors is Roddy Doyle. He really makes me laugh, even though the stories he tells are sometimes kind of grim. I read a book called A Star Called Henry, and there are laugh-out-loud scenes in the book, but what is it about? The Irish Rebellion and Civil War. Not a happy topic.
Yeah, it's really popular as well. I put it on, we've had a shelf display of recommendations from the shelf, and it's gone out a few times over the course of that display being up. It will be coming down this week, and it will actually, on topic, Andy's topic there, will be replaced by Irish, all things Irish. I think both Sally and Meredith, the non-fiction and the fiction librarian, are collaborating on that. So look out for that next week.
Yeah, I spoke in a previous podcast about I think it was last year on St. Patrick's Day about what the holiday means to me. The way it's interpreted in the U.S. is that it is a celebration of Irish heritage, and that's exactly how I see it. I dismiss the drunken revelry that people use it as an excuse for on other holidays like Mardi Gras. They're pretty much the same thing in some people's minds. To me, though, St. Patrick's Day reminds me of the fact that my great-grandmother left Ireland from Galway and sailed from Liverpool, England, all the way to the United States, I think maybe in 1912, around that time. And with that, there's family legends of she should have been on the Titanic, but missed her boat. I think that's more of a story than truth. It's just too...
Good story, though.
Good story, but I don't know. I don't know about that.
Perhaps some disinformation there.
And perhaps. Or is it just a wonderful story? But she found her home in America. And then there's my father's side of the family, who might be of Irish heritage, too. My last name's Moore, so maybe?
Probably.
And I find myself always intrigued by Irish history and Irish
Andy,
music.
I was an Irish dancer for 6 years. I don't know if you know that about me.
No, you never told me that.
Yeah.
Like Riverdance?
Yeah, well, that is actually, I was obsessed with first Riverdance and then later Lord of the Dance. I thought that Michael Flatley was just really cool and I wanted to be just like him. We also have Irish heritage. Well, we have a lot of Scottish heritage, but there's also Irish in there too along the way. And yeah, so yeah, for 6 years, I did Irish dance. I loved it. I still love it. I'd love to pick it up again, but unfortunately in Whangarei, well, it's mostly Scottish and Highland dancing up here. There doesn't seem to be any Irish classes. But yeah, there's a fun fact about me.
I'm also learning Irish Gaelic on Duolingo. Cool. I'm really bad at it, but
it's not an easy language.
But I'm trying.
That's awesome.
So we'd like to end with a song. The song is, I think it's pronounced like this: Shiveg Shivor.
It sounds better than anything I could pronounce.
It's a medley too, so it has another song called Hector the Hero. The performer's named Nick Reese on guitar, but he's playing a song, Shiveg Shivor, by Turla O'Corlan. He was a blind harp player in the 16 and 1700s, and a lot of Irish folk music can trace back to him and his travels and his lovely harp playing.
Cool. Well, we're going to play out with that. Thank you for listening to The Shelf, a podcast for Whangarei District Libraries on Beagle Radio, 88.1 FM. We'll see you in the library. Ka kite.
Ka kite.